Hello, beautiful souls. I'm delighted to be here again with you today. And for you, those who are new to my channel, I'm Jane, and I'm the author of two books, several books actually, but these are two of them. This one is called The Spiritual Seeker's Guide to Happiness, and it's a collection of channeled messages from the Council of Nine. So there's 350 pages of different essays that they brought forward to help us return back to love and understand how important it is for us to be loving ourselves in these times of such turbulence and change. And I'm also the author of this book, Conversations with a Tree. And today I'm actually sharing messages, and I'll put links for these books below. You can get them on Amazon. It's easier just to go through my website, so I'll put the links there if you're interested in purchasing them. And the book Conversations with a Tree came about one day when I was living in Nova Scotia, sitting at the base of a hemlock tree and knowing beyond any doubt that this tree was asking me to be her scribe. And it led to a fantastic journey of being taken into altered experiences with this tree and receiving such deep wisdom that I knew she wanted me to put in a book and share. And today, I also want to check in with a beautiful red cedar tree that's near where I'm living now in British Columbia that has helped me through some difficult times. In October, I was going through a real death and rebirth. It felt quite literally like a death. I even felt like I was grieving. And it's part of what we're going through now in this time of ascension. It's always good on the other side. Not that there is any judgment of bad or good. It can be challenging, as we know, when we're going through it. And one day I decided to go visit this tree that calls herself Isabel, and she's down the road from me where I go for a walk. And I went to see her, and she just called me in. It was like a grandmother's loving, nurturing energy. She was just saying, "Come to me, dear one, come to me, sweet one, let me love you." And I went and leaned up against her. When I connect with the trees, I like to lean my back against the tree and make sure my head is also leaned back against the tree. And by doing that, your entire spinal column is connecting and communicating with the tree. And I leaned back against her, and she was just giving me so much love that I was actually moved to tears. She just helped me move through some of what I was integrating and moving through. And it was just such a beautiful, loving, warm embrace. And this is what the trees really have to offer us. They're very aware of what we're going through, and they love to be able to support us. When we are loving and caring and kind and gentle to them, they want nothing more to offer that in return. And so we can heal ourselves by going and being with the trees. I've had times when I leaned against this young elm tree one time, and my heart just started racing. And it was almost overwhelming. I said, "What's going on?" And the tree answered. It said, "How long has it been since you have not had a cup of coffee?" Because I knew I was being encouraged to give up coffee at this time. So this is what the trees can do for us. And you may not hear that communication clearly, but that doesn't mean that the trees are not doing the same for you and offering you healing and love. So I would invite you to go to the trees with whatever it is you're working on. Find an older tree if you can, the biggest tree you can find, because they have more wisdom. They've been here longer. They've gained more wisdom. And just lean against it and just let it know what it is you're working on, and ask it for loving support. And remember to offer your love to the tree as well, to make sure it's a mutual exchange of love and appreciation. And so today I'm going to connect with this tree, Isabel, that is near me. I was awake in the middle of the night. It was a restless night for me, and in part of that awakeness, I was wondering what I would share today, and I remembered, oh yes, I was going to connect with Isabel and see what she wanted to share with you all. So I'm going to connect with her and let that come through, and I'm going to read a message again from this book, Conversations with a Tree, that is really a powerful invitation for us that can seem really hard. And a friend of mine sent me a Lester Levinson video recently, and he said, it's simple, but it's not easy. And I find that very much the truth for us going forward, is that what the trees especially are inviting us is to come back to simplicity. But it's not easy for us to come back to that with all the way that we live in the world now. We have to make a very conscious choice to come back to simplicity and to come back to nature. And I feel our salvation is connected to that. Our mental, emotional wellness and stability, I believe, is really connected to coming back to nature. And there's so much evidence of that with research that's being done on forest bathing, it's called, and outdoor preschools for children, that it has a great impact on our mental health. And there's even research that feels that the great experiences that people have with Outward Bound that are so successful, some are even suggesting the reason is, or part of the reason is because Outward Bound does everything out in the forest. And it's a program that people get pushed through their comfort zone and pushed through their barriers and limitations. And it's a profound program that has helped a lot of people. And it all takes place in the wilderness, to my understanding, in the forest. So I'm going to connect with Isabel now and just see what she wants to bring through for us. Greetings, dear brothers and sisters of the light. Greetings, dear children of the earth. We, the trees, are here waiting for you to see us, waiting for you to notice all that we have to give to you, all that we have to share with you. As you will know from the book that this one has written, we have much wisdom to share. It is the demise of humanity that has allowed you to fall so far from your connection with us. And we would say to you, beloveds, that your restoration, your resurrection back to the light would be well served by returning to nature. For indeed, when all life lives in harmony, then nature is a part of what is respected and appreciated. When all life lives in harmony, there is no imbalance of one race, one species dominating over the other. Every species, humans included, has their place in the divine plan. Every species, when living in the grace of love, knows its place in the divine plan and does not seek to overcome. Oh yes, there are species of plants that you would call weeds that grow out of balance, and yet we would suggest that this happens when humans have brought species out of their native land to control something else, and then find that the species you introduced is the one that is now out of control. For you see, nature in itself, when left to its own accord, knows how to find this balance. As you know, many species, as they overpopulate, will then find a cycle where the population decreases. That is a part of the divine plan, and it happens naturally. And so what humans have been doing in your past centuries has been moving farther and farther and farther from the balance and harmony of living in nature. And the farther you have moved from this, the more distraught and troubled your psyches have become. For you see, beloveds, you are very much out of balance. very much living in technology without the beautiful, warm embrace of nature. For if you would allow yourself to curl up on a bed of moss with sunlight streaming upon you, you would know the nurturance that nature has to provide. If you would allow your feet to touch the soil without being afraid of getting dirty, thinking that it's something horrible to get your feet dirty, then you would find that you are much more grounded in the world and much more connected to the earth that you depend on for your survival, for your life. So you see, in essence, you could say that you are pulling yourself away from the very energy that gives you life. You're pulling yourself away from your survival. Can you see this, beloveds? For this analogy has a deep truth that is hidden, that those who would be corrupting you with technology want to see you pulling away from the essence of your life. And it is up to you as individuals to wake up and see that it is time to return to your true nature in nature. It is time to find your way back home to your heart. You are living in your minds, and the mind is a very tough school. And the mind, without ever dropping into the heart, is a very sad and lonely existence. Beloveds, being lonely is not because you are the only one here. Being lonely is because you don't connect with the ones who are around you. And you can see this in your cities. People stand at a bus stop and see each other every day, and 3 months on may never have spoken a word to each other. This is a reflection of how shut down you are, how in your mind you are, how far from your heart you have become, that you think that it is unsafe to connect with your fellow human beings. And so we invite you to find your way back into nature, for in so doing, you will find your way back to your own true nature. And it is in your nature, in your true self, in your divinity, where the love that you seek is there. You are seeking outside of yourself, so many of you, always looking outside for something to fill you up when the only place to find it is within. And so I will leave it there, delighted with this channel, this beautiful sacred soul who has such a divine connection with nature. Our deep gratitude from the forests of this entire planet to her for having the courage to tell people that she talks to trees, and for sharing our love and wisdom. For we want you to know our love for you is great. Return to the forest whenever you can. Find a piece of nature wherever you can. If you live in a concrete jungle, a city, have plants in your home. Find the greenery. The greenery is the heart. It's the heart color. It will return you to your heart. Find your way back to love, dear ones, by looking within. And find your way back to nature so that life can become full and magical and splendid once again. We love you deeply, and we invite you to come and seek our guidance and our healing, and we will be here to embrace you with an energetic hug that will surround you and fill you with love. And so it is. I leave you with that, beloved souls. That was very moving at the end, feeling her love and the love of all the trees. And it's for us all, not just for me, it's for us all. So I'll gather myself, and I also want to share a message from Conversations with a Tree that is also talking about simplicity in life and simplicity in living. And this is from Henrietta. You live busy, active lives with very little stillness. This is what brings much of the despair and hardship in your society. It is the lack of stillness. When you think of nature, what do you usually think of? For most people, it is stillness. Of course, everyone knows that nature has two sides, like all things in a duality existence. Nature can be calm and still, and it can be outrageous and destructive. That is the balance of existence. We would say that the realm of nature is more stillness than destructiveness. And yet, the human experience is more of a destructive pattern of living than stillness. Most humans find very little time in their lives for stillness. And so it is like their lives are similar to a continuous storm. Imagine day after day walking outside into a storm. For months on end, every day you walk outside and it is stormy. In the winter it is snowing and the wind is blowing. In the summer it is rainy and the wind continues to blow. You are always cold and always feel that you must harden yourself to stand against the winds. This is what it is like to be a human in these times. You have created lives that are like living in a storm every day. It is the storm of hurriedness and busyness and demands of your careers and travel to and from work. You get home and then the children's activities begin and you gobble down some food and run out the door once again into the storm. This has created much weariness within the human body and psyche. And I think we're all feeling that weariness right now, especially with the energy increases coming to the earth. And so as we're going through this process of ascension and integrating so much high frequency energy, it's another invitation really to get into the trees so that they can help us to integrate that. Another time I went to visit a tree and I leaned against it, and again my heart was racing so fast. And I asked this time what was happening, and at the time I was living near some power lines, and the tree told me it was cleansing my body and purifying the energy of the power lines. So they can help us integrate this energy that we're going through right now. So I would invite you, when there are times when you're finding it difficult, you're going through ascension symptoms of integrating the new energies, it's another invitation to find your way into the forest or just a park and find a tree that you can lean against and say to heck with everybody walking by and what they may wonder, and just let yourself feel the benefit of what the trees can do to you, and just tune into your body and really feel what's happening when you're leaning against the tree. And also trust your own intuition and your own wisdom. If you ask what's happening, just trust. Don't let your mind come in and question what you get, because usually the first thing that comes is the intuitive response. So she goes on, and I'll just share the rest of this message. When was the last time you sat on your doorstep and talked to a neighbor? What, you say? Sit on my doorstep? Talk to a neighbor? For many of you this would be unheard of, and yet it would bring you great comfort. It would bring you a sense of belonging, a sense of community. Oh, but your closed hearts will not allow such a thing. This is brought forward to give you an idea of what we are talking about here. The little things that bring the heart pleasure, the slowing down of living, are far from the current reality for so many people on your planet. This is not to say that such people in communities do not exist, because they do, but there are very few of them in your busy cities. Your city folk have lost touch with the stillness of life. The very thought is repulsive. Many are lost in the hustle-bustle because it means they do not have to look inside. They do not have to stop and wonder who they are. That would be terrifying in itself. And so they continue to run in circles, like a lab rat in a maze running from the very essence of themselves. There is much beauty in simplicity. We see that you are slowly finding your way back to that. And when you do, the trees will be waiting here for you. We will be here noticing, and we will say, welcome back. Welcome back to you. For you see, dear humans, you are running from yourselves. And the only place where you will find true joy is within yourself. Therefore, you are running away from joy. We are here to help you and guide you. The natural world, in all its intelligence, is here waiting. Walk up to a tree someday and in your mind say hello, and see how you feel. Do you feel that tree acknowledging you with its loving essence? All of creation is love. Because we do not have the experience of being out of the simplicity of merely being, we have love to share. That is what we are. That is what all of creation is, unless you create otherwise, and even that is love. So, when you acknowledge a tree and offer your love to a tree, you will get it back. If you can slow down long enough to still your heart, you will feel it. Try it. It is not for the trees that we ask this. The trees do not need your support. We are full within ourselves, and we have love to share. It is for your experience that this is suggested. It is so that you can experience the fullness of the very world that you live in. And that is a profound statement, that by getting into nature, we're getting out of our mind and into the fullness of this world that we exist in. So I'm going to leave it there, my friends. Thank you for being present today. And check out my website if you're interested in purchasing this book. And also I want to let you know that I'm doing weekly Pathways to Ascension calls, which are limited to 10 people, and it's the opportunity for us to find that way to go within and find what's in there that's been holding us back from the life that we'd like to be living. And it's uncovering the subconscious beliefs that sabotage us when we make efforts to move forward, so that we can find the way back to that beautiful light that is within us, within our hearts. I use the freedom release technique, and I use light language on this call. And so you can check that out at my website as well. It's a 2-hour call. And as I said, I limit it to 10 people so everybody can have a time to share what's going on for them. And then in the second half of the call, I do clearing and releasing with the freedom release technique and the light language. And it's very interesting when we come together in groups, other people are mirroring for us what is happening within us. And the very first call was last Tuesday, and we found that what others had brought up, others were bringing to the same thing to the table, because we are supporting each other always, and there's always divine synchronicity when we come together in groups. And so I find the energy is actually magnified in the work when we come together this way. So check out Pathways to Ascension on my website, and please subscribe if this work moves you and you want to be advised of the videos when they come up. And thank you for being present. So much love to you all. Have fun visiting the trees.